Good evening, and welcome to the February 17th meeting of the Akron Public Schools Rules Committee. I am the president of Akron School Board as well as the chair of the Rules Committee. I am joined by our co-chair, Vice President Molinar, and committee member Kelly. Superintendent Otley is not here. She and our assistant superintendent is off being recognized, and we're very honored to hear that this evening. And so joining us are her very capable directors. So I would like at this moment to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So the ayes have it. Let me just say, as we go forward and looking at uniformity, I would like the committees, including the Rules Committee, to use the format that Legal and Contract is presently using. I find their format to be one that gives a reasonable person enough information that if they read their format that they would be clear on one, who's on the committee, who's present at the committee, the committee members that may be present but not on the committee, and the staff that's here, as well as the staff that may be the administrative representative. So I think that the Legal and Contract Committee members would be the one that we're going to use. So I've been looking at everyone's. And so if you could pass that on to everyone, I would appreciate it, and I would pass it on to the members here on the board that's not here. All right, then, we're going to get right into this and start off with the recommendations from the administration as it relates to the policies and resolutions that you would like to see on our next board agenda. So who is up first? On the professional staff and administration. I think the first would be yes, Mr. Treasurer. You want to just go give us a brief overview of the finance report for January 2026. Are you requesting that be on the consent agenda? Are you surprised?
I had no idea. I'm sorry.
You had no idea.
No, I just came to observe. I didn't realize. Yeah.
No, it is the first up. So we will hear from you on Monday. It's a finance report for January 2026. We will hear your report on Monday, and your request will be that it goes on the consent agenda.
Yes, tomorrow night I'm going to present it to the Finance Committee, and then, yes, Monday night we'll do that.
That's right. That sounds good. So right, tomorrow the Finance Committee will go into your report in detail.
Yes.
But right now the recommendation is that we also add that to the board's agenda on the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, thank you, Mr. Treasurer. We'll move on to item 10.1.
Oh.
Hello.
My name's Judy Newsom.
You want to move your mic down so we can speak to the world?
Yes. My name is Judy Newsom. I'm the benefits manager in the Human Resources Department. And we have several items here for the consent agenda. And
we will go one by one.
One by one? Okay.
Yes. 10.1.
Okay. 10.1, retirement and resignations of professional staff. We have several retirements and one resignation, a couple resignations, 2 retirements, 2 resignations.
Okay, could we hear the names of the individuals that are retiring? And if you have any idea how long they worked with the system, we would appreciate hearing it.
I have Ms. Dorothy Christner with 17 years of service
Wonderful.
with APS, and Ms. Semmelsberger with 32 years.
Okay, and the third person is, you don't have to say that person is resigning? Or
Two
people are resigning. All righty. So are there any questions from the committee members?
Should I do the discussion now?
Questions or discussion? Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Member Molinar.
See, we're learning this too, so I don't know if it's more appropriate here or at the meeting, but I wanted to take a moment and say one of the retirements, Tammy Semmelsberger, amazing kindergarten teacher, had both of my children, and of all the teachers that my children have had, feels the most like family, because she was not just a kindergarten teacher for my first child, but was a kindergarten teacher for my first child during COVID. So she saw into my home, and we went through it together, and I still have a great reader, and it is all because of her. So we wish her well, and we'll miss her a lot.
Oh, that's wonderful. And your son is in the audience, so he's waving his hand. I think that's with agreement. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, are there any objections to adding 10.1 on the consent agenda? Hearing no objections, we'll go to 10.2.
10.2, retirements, resignations from administrators. We have one retirement and one resignation.
Any retirement?
The retirement, I apologize, I don't have the number of years of service, but this is an administrator from Akron Early College.
You want to say that person's name, please?
Mona Catran.
Okay. And she is retiring from the system. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to acknowledge those individuals and the years. And if we never get a chance to say their name again, we want to at least see them say that during this time. And they could always go back and watch this meeting and know that we appreciated their service. And it says a lot when an individual dedicates themselves to educating our children and taking care of our community in such a special way. So that's why we want to make sure that we at least acknowledge them. And as we go throughout the years, if you can bring even more little tidbits about them and information that you want to share, please don't hesitate to do so. This is when we want to do that. All right, so we had at 10.2, you had one person retiring,
One person resigned.
and one person resigning. Is there any objection to adding this to the consent agenda? Hearing no objection, we will go to 10.3.
10.3, leave of absence for professional staff members. We have 2 staff members that are going on a leave of absence pursuant to their collective bargaining agreements.
Okay. And what is that time period? Do you know that? Is that for 1 year or?
It can be. I mean, typically people will take the ask for a leave for a year, but they may come back earlier, depending on their situation.
And what areas are they in?
Both of these are teachers.
Are teachers?
I'm sorry, one is a speech therapist, and the other is a teacher.
Okay. Is there any objection in adding that to our consent agenda? Hearing no objections, we will go to 10.4.
10.4 is a leave of absence for professional staff, but it's called out because it's for the 26-27 school year.
Okay.
So again, a teacher pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement has requested a leave of absence.
Thank you. Are there any questions, any comments? Are there any objections? Hearing none, then we will go to 10.5.
10.5 is employment professional staff. We have a intervention specialist being hired, coming on board with us.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit more about this position, please?
This position is an intervention specialist who will be assigned to go to Bookdale Middle School.
Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Hearing no objections? All right, we will put that on the consent agenda. So 10.6.
10.6, we have 2 current substitute teachers that are moving into full-time contracted teaching positions. One will be going to STEM High School, and the other will be going to Leggett CLC.
Okay, so any questions, any comments? So this is a substitute teacher that's now becoming permanent employee,
Correct.
both individuals.
Correct. Typically, when you see that, they've completed the requirements to get their licensure, their full licensure. So then if they interview and are selected, they will move into a contracted teaching position.
Wonderful. Member Molinar.
Thank you, Madam President. That was part of my question. Were these teachers in the Grow Your Own program? Do we know?
I don't believe so.
And Member Molinar, those are students that came through the system, came through Akron Public Schools? Grow Your Own? What is Grow Your Own?
If you want to describe
Okay.
how individuals move through APS and Grow Your Own.
So it's my understanding, and I apologize because I don't have all the
Sure.
details on this, but there were funds at one point in time that we received that we would allocate to teachers that, or employees that wanted to become teachers, so that we would use those funds so that they could get their proper credentialing. And you will see that in like CCAA positions. We've had several paraprofessionals that have moved into teaching positions. So that's what that is. And it sometimes will be referred to as the RAEL, and I'm not sure what that acronym stands for. But
I like Grow Your Own. That sounds good.
yeah,
That
it's
sounds good.
definitely more descriptive.
Okay.
It's my understanding through our Grow Your Own program that it's a way for principals and administrators to identify staff members that aren't teachers but have a great ability with students, and they might not even have a bachelor's degree yet, but they see them, nurture them, mentor them, and help them earn their licensure
Wonderful.
and become accredited teachers.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so if there's no objection to 10.6, going on the consent agenda as requested, then we will go to 10.7.
10.7, we have a funding change. We have a funding change that is going from Title IV. It was a 50-50 split between Title IV and General Fund, is moving just to General Fund positions.
Okay. Any questions, any comments, any objections? Hearing none, we will place 10.7 on the consent agenda. All righty, so we're at miscellaneous professionals. That would be 11.1.
And 11.1, we have hired an individual, or recommending for hire an individual to work in the natatorium in a variety of different positions. So that's why you'll see the 3 different rates. It's dependent upon the actual job that will be assigned. Not to exceed 24 hours per week. This is not a new position. This is having more bodies to choose from to fill those hours. A lot of students will do these services, college students that are former APS employees, and as they head back to school and graduate from college, sometimes their availability gets a little limited.
And is this in just one school? Do we have a pool someplace other than, it's just a Firestone?
Firestone Natatorium,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Any additional questions? Any objections to placing this on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will go to supplemental contracts, personnel recommendations, 12.1.
Okay, and 12.1, we have some changes in the salaries for supplemental contracts that were previously approved, and the reason can be several different. If someone goes on a leave of absence and they're not available to do the contract while they're gone, we will prorate based on the time they perform the contract, and if they return to work, then we will prorate that as well. Or if we have a lateral move where we have a teacher that was, say, at King's School and is taking a position at Leggett and will no longer be able to do the contract that's assigned to King's School, so we will have to prorate based on the number of days of service. So that is what those 4 supplemental adjustments are right there in 12.1.
Okay, and from what I can see, these are not teachers. So we see an activity supervisor, a breakfast coordinator, testing coordinator, and a residence educator mentor.
They're actually all teachers.
All are teachers?
They're all teachers.
Okay.
All these individuals are teachers, but the duties are activity supervisor, breakfast coordinator, testing coordinator, and then the resident educator mentor.
Okay, interesting. All right. Any additional questions, comments? Any objections to placing 12.1 on the consent agenda? Okay, 12.2.
12.2, also limited supplemental contracts. These are newly issued supplemental contracts. There are several that are athletic, and there is one that is for a teacher that is a testing coordinator.
Okay, any questions? Any members? All right, so I see that these are, as you said, testing coordinators, track coach, freshman basketball coach, junior varsity basketball coach, varsity basketball coach, and freshman wrestling coach, and at various schools, including Booker, Firestone, Garfield, and Hayden. Okay, is there any objections to adding this to the consent agenda? Hearing none, 12.2 will be requested to be added to the consent agenda. All right. We are now at 13.1, resignation, substitute teacher.
13.1, we have one resignation and one retirement.
Okay.
Sub-teachers going to board.
All right, so I see here retirement is Georgetta Tompkin-Freeman?
It's her, yes.
Is retiring.
Yes, she's retiring.
Okay. All righty. And any other questions, any comments, any objections? All right, we will add 13.1. Request that be added to the consent agenda. 13.2.
13.2, we have 4 individuals that we're recommending for substitute teaching positions that have the proper licensure in place.
Okay, any questions, any comments, any objections? Hearing none, we will add the substitute teacher to request that be added to the consent agenda. So we are now on 13.3.
And these are reappointments of sub-teachers, meaning they had subbed with us in the past.
Okay.
And have been reissued the appropriate licensure, so they are called out in a separate section there.
Okay. All righty. Any questions? Any comments? Any objections? Hearing none, we will place that on the consent agenda. All right, we will now move down to support staff, which is 15.1, which is employment substitute secretary.
So 15.1, retirement resignations of our support staff.
Yeah.
We have one secretary at hire retiring, and we had a subsecretary that is resigning.
Okay. Hearing no objections, we will place that on, request that be placed on the consent agenda. 15.2 now is the substitute secretary.
There is one individual that is being recommended for hire into a sub position.
Okay, and that position is a family liaison for North High School, is that correct?
I may have gotten off here.
Was that the right one?
Employment subsecretary that's going to East.
At East, CLC.
Yeah, 16 would be the...
Yes. Getting ahead of myself. All righty. So that is at East CLC. Any questions? Any objections to placing 15.2 on the consent agenda? Let me make sure that we get this right. 15.2, employment substitute secretary. Okay. All righty, we're now at 16.1, retirement resignation paraprofessional staff.
We have one resignation of an individual that was assigned to a family liaison position at North High School.
Any objections in placing on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will request that 16.1 be placed on the consent agenda. 16.2.
We have 2 individuals that are recommended for hire in the paraprofessional job classification. One will be assigned as a bus assistant, and the other will be placed at Bookdall.
Okay. Hearing no objections, we will request that this be placed on the consent agenda. 16.2, 16.3.
Substitute paraprofessionals, we have 5 individuals that we are recommending for hire as substitute parapros.
Okay, and again, those individuals are at different schools. So that's 16.3. Any objections? Hearing no objections, we will request that 16.3 be placed on the consent agenda. 16.4, reclassification paraprofessional.
We have an individual that is moving from a substitute paraprofessional position into a full-time paraprofessional position assigned at Hatton.
Okay. If we have no objections to placing on the consent agenda, then we will request that 16.4 be placed on the consent agenda. 16.5.
We have a rescission of employment. This particular individual was offered the position and has failed to show up and or return contact, so we would like to rescind the prior approval for hiring of this individual.
Oh, did we check? Is she all right? Is this person all right?
I know that several different attempts have been made to contact the person, and no return phone calls have been issued. And I think someone younger than me in my office said they were ghosted. So, whatever that means.
Okay, all righty then. That doesn't happen often, does it?
It has.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not as uncommon as you would think,
my.
unfortunately.
Wow. All righty then. Is there any objection to placing this on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will request that 16.5 be placed on the consent agenda. 16.6, revised finding assignment an interpreter. Okay.
This is individual funding from the general fund to a federal Afghan refugee impact fund.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there any questions? So what are we doing here? We're changing it from a general fund to a particular fund?
Yes, to it's Afghan refugee.
Refugee Impact
ESL.
Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that is for the 26, 27? You know what time period?
I believe it's to move the funding current.
Just to move, currently move the funding to cover it under the grant as opposed to general funds. Okay. Are there any, if there's no objection, 16.6, we will request that it be placed on the consent agenda. Okay. We're at 17.1, which is child nutrition, personnel recommendation, 17.1.
We have 1 resignation and 1 retirement in our child nutrition elementary worker.
Okay. Do we have any objections to placing this on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will request that 17.1 be placed on the consent agenda. Okay. 17.2.
Also child nutrition. We have another situation, again, where an individual is offered the position and has failed to show up and or return our phone calls.
All righty. Hearing no objections and placing on the consent agenda, 17.2, we will request be placed on the consent agenda. 17.3, employment.
Yep.
Child nutrition.
Child nutrition, we have temporary worker being recommended for hire.
Okay, in child nutrition services. And So can this person be placed in any school, any location? Okay, wherever
Typically,
as
yeah.
needed?
Yeah, typically in child nutrition, most employees start in the temporary worker, and they will, fill in for vacancies and call-offs, and then, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but our next item agenda is where we have people moving from the temporary worker into assigned positions.
Okay. Hearing no objections, we will request that 17.3 be placed on the consent agenda. 17.4.
As I said, we have a couple temporary workers that are moving into permanent spots at I Promise, Innis, Litchfield, and Firestone.
Okay. Hearing no objections, we will request that 17.4 be placed on the consent agenda. All right, 18.1, and that is dealing with maintenance, operation, transportation.
We have one retirement of a custodian at Leggett.
Okay. If there's no objections, then we will request that 18.1 be placed on the consent agenda. 18.2.
18.2, we have a substitute bus driver that is being recommended for hire.
Okay. Having no objections, then we will request that 18.2 be placed on the consent agenda. 18.3.
18.3, we have a reclassification in our maintenance job classification. We have an individual going from an electrician position to an HVAC automation technician position.
All right. Hearing no objections, we will request that 18.3 be placed on the consent agenda. Okay. All right. And 18.1, we are under security and personnel recommendation. 18.1.
We have a leave of absence in accordance with policy and the collective bargaining agreement for this individual.
Okay. Hearing no objections, we will request that 19.1 be placed on the consent agenda. 19.2.
In this item, we have two part-time school climate team members being recommended for positions not to exceed 24 hours per week.
Okay. Okay, hearing no objections, we will request that 19.2 be placed on the consent agenda. 19.3.
19.3, we have a recommendation for employment of a police liaison officer as and when needed. This is an Akron Police Department police officer that will be doing as needed jobs for athletic events mainly.
And I would suspect that is per contract,
Yeah,
per
correct.
the police liaison officer contract.
Correct.
Okay. Member Molinar.
Thank you, Madam President. I did notice that for all the other positions, we have this lovely table, I would say, that let us know a lot of information, but especially some of the information that's written here, the effective dates, but if it was a replacement position or new, do you know if this is replacement or if a table was going to go in here?
Probably not because it's just one, but with the police liaison officers, typically it's to have more people to pull from that are available to do the work on the as-needed basis. So it's not necessarily a new position or a replacement. It's to have more bodies to pull from when we need events covered.
Okay, so let me just see, but that's the police liaison officers. So I thought those officers were just doing in the schools.
Those are
This is at the rate of $52.50 per
right. So we
hour.
have SROs and police liaison officers,
Okay.
and they're two separate job classifications. The police liaison officers do events. They typically will provide security at events, and it's usually as and when needed. And we have a pool of officers that they pull from for doing scheduling.
Okay. Hearing no objections, we will request that 19.3 be placed on the consent agenda. 19.4.
19.4.
Safety team part-time.
Recommending for hire a part-time safety team member. It's a replacement position, not to exceed 24 hours per week.
Okay. Hearing no objections to place on the consent agenda, the request will be made. 19.5.
This, we have a reinstatement from a leave of absence for this individual.
Okay, great. So they do come back.
They do come back.
Great. Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. All right. Hearing no objections, the request is to place on the consent agenda, 19.5. All righty. So now we are going into the division recommendations and resolutions. I believe that is under okay, we have 21.1. That is acceptance of donation.
Good evening, President
Director.
Sykes and Vice President Molnar and Ms. Kelly.
Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
21.1 is a motion to accept donations. I have 13 recommendations for acceptance of a variety of different items for a variety of different schools, and we are always very, very grateful for all the donations that we are able to obtain for our programming and our schools.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions, any recommendations? So we feel comfortable placing this on the consent agenda? Okay, hearing no objections, 21.1 will be requested to go on the consent agenda. 21.2.
21.2 is the LeBron James Family Foundation non-cash donation, and this is an update to the board regarding the amount and items that the foundation has given to the I Promise School. And you can see that there are a number of items listed, including projects and maintenance, programming and student support, family support, staff support, I Promise 2, which is the GED program for the parents of the students, along with IPS athletics, IPN student support, and then student housing support. As you are aware, some of our students do live in the housing project, and the value being provided in kind is $2,365,439.46.
Thank you. Any questions, any comments, any recommendations? Okay, so I think that what we will do is recommend that this go on the regular agenda so that we will give an opportunity to thank the foundation at our formal meeting.
Thank you.
So that will go. So 21.3.
21.3 is the Project Lead the Way grant. We are very fortunate in Akron Public Schools to get these additional funds. And this is for Firestone High School, CLC. They actually wrote and received the grant in the amount of $10,000. And these funds will be used to support the actual Project Lead the Way program at that particular school. So the resolution is to accept the funds and assign Fund 019268 for the grant funding to be budgeted properly and used.
It's wonderful. So any questions, any comments, any recommendations for 21.3? Okay, well, we will place that on the consent agenda. Who is the cluster lead for this? Is that? Nathan? Okay. All right, 21.4.
21.4 is the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce School Bus Safety Grant. And Akron Public Schools made an application to this grant along with a number of school districts in Ohio. And this is to receive the award that has been given to Akron Public Schools in the amount of $115,037. And the grant will be used to actually buy stop arm cameras for placement on the buses that we currently have in our fleet. We will not be able to do all of them, but what stop arm cameras will do is when the bus is actually stopped, if a vehicle goes around the bus, it will record and video that so we can provide that information to Akron Police, because they then go out to talk to the individual and cite it because it's illegal to pass a bus when it is stopped. And they will be on both sides of the bus because although a bus is supposed to be on curbside, we do have occasionally when they go on the passenger side of the bus.
Yes, we do. All righty. So any questions, comments? You think this, Member Molinar?
Yes, thank you. As a parent of a child who gets on and off of a bus every single day, this is news that I think is really interesting. And I don't know if during our board meeting it would be appropriate to talk about this, but I would hope that somehow the communications department or someone else could maybe even show us what a video might look like going around and just kind of let people know about how we're keeping our kids safe.
Okay, so you don't want to put it on a regular agenda to talk about it? You want to... No, perhaps, as you said, perhaps we could do something else to kind of highlight it and just to remind the community to stop and not to go around the buses. It would be a great opportunity. So maybe the communication department could do something.
And actually, to your point, once they get here and we get them installed, that could be a great time to do that. It's not that the grant isn't awarded and we want to use it. It's the fact we don't have them to show how they work yet.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay, all righty, sounds good. Okay, so if there's no objections, we will place item 21.4. I lost my place.
Yes.
21.4 on the consent agenda. All right, moving on to the business affairs. So we have 22.1.
22.1 is multiple vendor service contracts for our fine arts department. Mm-hmm. As you can see, the total amount being used is $1,875. And the individuals listed here are actually brought in to help review our students as they perform and give them pointers as they move on to state competition. Oh, and they do a variety of different things. And as you can see, we have them doing middle and high school events.
Wonderful. So we are in the winter concert series now, and we're all engaged in one way or another. And it's fun. Any comments, any recommendations? So the recommendation is to place it on the consent agenda if there's no objections. 22.1. Okay. 22.2.
22.2 is multiple vendor service contracts for snow plowing district-wide. At the board meeting of November 3rd of 2025, the board did approve engaging these particular vendors with a total not to exceed $60,000 based on what we thought was happening for the winter season. Unfortunately, that didn't occur correctly, so at this time the recommendation is to amend this to add an additional $90,000 for the new total not to exceed $150,000, and this is available currently in the budget.
Okay, great. Any questions, any comments, any recommendations? Well, I would just recommend that we place this on the regular agenda so that we can make sure that all board members know that we are increasing that. And also, I think, so that members can see, I think the last time, Director, there were some questions of whether or not we actually use any Akron snowplow. So I can see here we're using some Akron plow, some individuals from Akron, so we can point that out too. So let's place 22.2, it's more good news, on the regular agenda.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no objections. Okay. Yes.
Thank
Member
you.
Molinar.
In item 22, I did notice for the other items, it's so nice having the contract in the attachments. And so if this is something for the rest of the board members to see that this has been updated, if we can add those attachments to this item too.
That were originally from the November 3rd meeting? Sure.
Yes, thank you. Save some clicking around.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so we're at 22.3.
22.3 is Advanced Toolware LLC, called Tools for Ever Service Agreement. It is recommending that we enter into a renewal for our identity access and management software, and it is detailed very specifically in there as a single source provider so that we can continue to provide the services that are essential to the district.
Okay, so that amount is $204,404.50.
That is correct.
And that's out of the general fund.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would say that recommend that they go on the agenda, on the regular agenda. Yeah, just to be sure, because of that, that's a significant amount, and to give you an opportunity to update us on what's happening there. If there's no objections, all righty. 22.3 will go on the regular agenda. 22.4.
22.4 is with CDW Government LLC. It is also a service agreement renewal, and this is a renewal for the rubric cybersecurity attachment and review system that helps secure our networks as we are operating daily from cyber attacks. And the additional cost is for $83,706, and it is general fund.
Okay. Questions, comments, recommendations? Member Molinar.
I do recall that recently it was, I don't remember which committee meeting we had, but it was brought up that due to changes in the state, that the school is now liable. The state will not reimburse if we are
That is
hacked with
correct.
the cybersecurity. And so with that, I do think this is something that's important, and it's an important reminder of this cost. And so I would like to see this, if possible, on the regular agenda.
Okay, so that's 22.4? Yes, okay, 22.4, we would request that they go on the regular agenda. 22.5.
22.5 is EUNA Solutions. It's an end-user license agreement renewal. And this is actually to modernize our purchasing through secure cloud-based systems that automates compliance, accelerates and improves receipt of goods times, maximizes taxpayer value by connecting us to 1.2 million suppliers, and provides AI-driven insights to reduce costs on classroom essentials. This would be effective April the 1st of this year through March 31st of 2031. Total cost not to exceed $51,575, and you will note in the box the annual cost per term in each of the 5 years. And then this supports operational excellence, and it allows us to get cost-effective practicing on an online mandated effective processing per purchase.
Okay,
This came through the treasurer's office.
okay. Are there any recommendations or questions? Member Molinar.
Thank you, Madam President. So this is a agreement renewal, so we're reusing AI-driven insights presently?
We are currently using a version of this, and this is an upgraded version, and the AI has recently been added. So that's why it reaches out more to 1.2 million vendors, and it will also put them in category and give you the lowest, most effective cost if you're out there searching for something online to buy for the district.
That is very interesting and modern. We talk about students' use of AI, but we are using it also to I think $51,000 general fund, this would be very useful on the regular agenda.
Okay, and this is being used in the treasurer's office?
It was a recommendation
It was a
from the
recommendation from the treasurer's
office. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, so if there's no objections, we go on the regular agenda. Member Kelly.
Thank you, President Sykes. Can you share with us where we are using this technology at?
Actually, when you go out to search for a vendor online, it is part of our internal system. And as an example, it ranks a number of variety of vendors such as Amazon and other vendors that allow us to secure the pricing for items that we're looking for. And this upgrade makes us available to more vendors district-wide, and also puts the price together so that as you are looking, and I'm just going to make it easy, I'm looking for mops as an example. If I was looking for that, it would not only categorize them, it would give us what we want for specifications and give us the lowest, most available price. And we have done online marketing purchasing for a number of years. But this is an upgrade to this system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the request is that it be placed on the regular agenda, 22.5. Yes. Hearing no objections, then that's will be the request. 22.6.
22.6 is Frontline Technologies Group, LLC, also known as Frontline Education, and these are site license renewals, and it's called Hayes Asset Tracking Program. And we're recommending the renewal of the annual software and licensing agreement for Hayes Asset Tracking Program. It is utilized district-wide for inventory asset management, including maintenance and upgrades to the system with Frontline Technology. This is a single source provider, and it does effectively integrate with our Munis ERP program, effective March 29th of 26 through March 28th of 27. Total cost not to exceed $89,403.77.
Okay, any questions, any comments, recommendations? So it's the recommendation to place it on the consent agenda? Hearing no objections, all right, we will place that on the consent agenda.
Thank you.
22.7.
22.7 is the Greater Akron Chamber Cooperative Agreement. And this agreement is between Akron Public Schools and the Greater Akron Chamber, and they will become a partner with Garfield High School for their Academy of Innovation and Industry. And this is the work will collaboratively provide workplace and college learning experience for our students at Garfield. It is effective from February 23rd of 26 through and including February 22nd of 29. And this is in-kind contributions by the Greater Akron Chamber at a minimum value of $50,000 each year of the agreement. And this is very exciting because
Yes.
This is a wonderful new partnership for Garfield.
Yes. Any questions, any comments? So I would recommend that we place this on our regular agenda so we can give Pastor Harrison an opportunity to brag on Garfield. And all of us an opportunity to brag on Akron Public Schools. All righty, so we will place that on the regular agenda. That is 22.7. So 22.8.
22.8 is a recommendation for a purchase and service agreement with I Am Possible Enterprise, LLC. And this contract will provide 3 45-minute professional service sessions to provide support, guidance, and advice on topics based on expertise and experience at the students that we currently need to service at the Juvenile Detention Center. And I Am Possible is effective from February 24th of 26 through the end of the school year, June 30th of 26, not to exceed $1,600, and it is being supported in its funding through the GIR Melody Grant, which is 019-2612.
Okay. Any questions, any comments, recommendation? Here, if there's no objection to place it on the consent agenda, 22.8 will be recommended to go on the consent agenda. 22.9.
22.9 is Verizon Wireless Incorporated Service Agreement, and this is an amendment.
Okay.
At the board meeting of April 14th of 25, the board did approve using Verizon Wireless to provide cell phone services district-wide for those individuals that need to carry a board-provided phone. And at that time, we were under the State of Ohio Master Agreement 43549.0000. But we have been advised that we are now able to go to a new governmental safety contract agreement for the same wireless services with priority status during declared emergencies. What that means is if we had a declared emergency, this call would take top priority through this service. Under the Governmental Contract National Association of State Procurement Officials, Master Agreement MA 152-1, effective February 24th of 26 through June 30th of 27, at a reduction of $500 per month, because this is a month-to-month contract, saving the district a total of $6,000 to be charged to general fund. So we not only get an upgrade, we get to save money, and we get to be more safe.
Okay. Member Molinar.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, we all like to hear about saving money. I just wanted to state one time that the board-provided phones are not board member phones. None of the board members get any of these phones. No. And it's for our staff, our full-time staff, as you said, who need these all the time. So I just wanted to make it clear, these aren't our phones.
Thank you.
Correct. Thank you. So the recommendation is the recommendation to place 22.9 on the consent agenda. Hearing no objections, so we will recommend that 22.9 goes on the consent agenda. And that, I believe, concludes the requests from the administration on the items that you would like to see placed on the agenda for our next board meeting on next Monday, February 23rd.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have before us, I don't believe we have any updates or any unfinished business, but we do have some new business. There are 6 transportation policy updates that have been brought to the Rules Committee for recommendations to be placed on the agenda. And Member Kelly, do you want to give us a quick overview?
Yes, thank you, President Sykes. At this time, I would like to share that the Policy Committee would like to bring forth 6 new policies. Those policies are the drug and alcohol testing of CDL license holder who reform safety-sensitive functions and are subject to DOT testing, and that is policy 4162. The second policy
let's just go one by one. So that's policy number 4162. So I would just ask if the administration has anything to add to the requested policies of 4162.
Good evening again. 4162 was actually only revised for definitions of various substances and testing programs involving those individuals that hold CDLs and drive school buses. Thank you.
Okay. Member Kelly.
Thank you, President Sykes. The second policy is the drug and alcohol testing of employees without a CDL license who transport students in alternative vehicles. That is policy number 4162.01.
Good evening again.
Okay.
And this is actually a new policy for APS and most of the state. So this will involve any individual not driving a school bus. It's more to the smaller vehicles such as board-owned vans, CCA vans, coaches, etc. So this will be a new policy, and it will be assisted by the HR department in setting up these required testing and items for these individuals that will now be under this jurisdiction.
Thank you. Member Kelly.
Thank you, President Sykes. The next policy is the transportation policy, which is policy number 8600.
8600 is revised now to include alternative vehicles. These are not necessarily just school buses. So under the policy, it now covers both types of transport.
Thank you. Member Kelly.
Thank you, President Sykes. The next policy is bus and alternative vehicles driver certification. That is policy number 8600.04.
In this case, this is a revisement of the qualifications for drivers of both of these type vehicles, school buses and alternative vehicle units such as vans.
Thank you. Member Kelly.
Thank you, President Sykes. The next policy is the transportation for non-route trips. That is policy number 8640.
The revision here now allows to include vehicles that can transport students up to, including units that will have 12 passengers. This is a change from the previous 9 in compliance with state and federal laws, and the cost of the trips may be charged when necessary if it is determined to be appropriate. Just that is the change. It changes the size that we could consider in the future.
Thank you. May be charged to the parents or to the school?
It may be charged to mostly their programs that offer would like to support a field trip.
Okay. Great. Member Kelly.
Thank you, President Sykes. The last policy is the transportation by alternative vehicles, which is policy number 8650.
Again, this is a revision to this policy that includes vehicles that can transport students for up to a 12-passenger unit in compliance with state and federal law.
Thank you, Director. So hearing no objections or no questions, it's a recommendation to place these items on the regular agenda. Okay, hearing no objections to placing on the regular agenda, the 6 new policy items that we just reviewed will be recommended to be placed on the regular agenda.
Thank you.
All right. Just to review, so to make sure that we're all on the same page, so we are asking that the 6 items that we just reviewed will be added to the regular agenda, as well as item 21.2, which is the James Foundation donations, 22.2, which is snow plows, additional not to exceed $150,000, 22.3, $204,484.50 contract, 22.4, which was, I'm not sure what 22.4 was, 22.4. It's $83,706. I have the amount, but I don't have what that was.
The cloud storage, CDW government, rubric cybersecurity.
Oh, that's cybersecurity. Okay, 22.4 and 22.5. 22.5 is the AI. We think that'll be interesting to talk about. And 22.7, which is the Greater Akron Chambers, $50,000 in kind for, and the Academy's Innovation and Industry at Garfield High. So those are the items that we see going on the general schedule for our meeting February 23rd. All righty. If there's nothing else to come before the committee, I will give you 1 minute back. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I I move to adjourn.
Member Molinar, motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
A second.
Member Kelly, seconds. All those in favor, aye. We will adjourn at 7:29 p.m. Rules Committee. Thank you.